Hi there, welcome back to Lockdown Lessons, Part 5. Today I'm happy to introduce Colin Porter from TNA Building Services. So hello Colin to start off with.
Hi Philip, thanks for inviting me today.
No problem at all, no problem at all. So we're just going to go through a list of questions now, some ideas. The idea is the people that are watching this are going to come up with some ideas of their own, what they could be doing differently. So without further ado, let's get a crack on. So could you just explain what TNA Building Services do exactly, Colin?
Yeah, sure. We're a property maintenance company. We work in a number of different sectors, predominantly for the block management sector, looking after the common parts of blocks of flats across London and Manchester. We also work in the high net worth sector and also social housing. So predominantly maintaining buildings is what we do.
Fantastic. And when you say you work in social housing and the high net worth residential sector, would they also be in property maintenance as well?
Yeah, it's predominantly looking after buildings that belong to people or landlords across the sector really. So that it could be anybody really who needs maintenance on their building. We generally work for them, and there's different requirements from those different sectors, but we've managed to encompass all of those sectors within our business at varying levels, and obviously they all have different requirements, but we've managed to find a way to make it work across all those areas. Yes.
Good stuff, fantastic. So if we could cast our mind back to March, at what point did you think that the way you operate and TNA was gonna change slightly? At what point did you think there might be a change afoot with all the news articles that were coming out at the time?
Yeah, it was really, I suppose the real crucial point was when the Prime Minister announced the lockdown. That was, up until then, everything was pretty much as normal. It was that evening, I was watching the news, as I'm sure most people were, and suddenly it was everything closes. And at that point, you automatically think, well, what's going to happen? What are we going to do? Where is it going to be affected? How is it going to work? And yes, we had lots of, so that was the key point, and we had lots of phone calls and questions at that point.
Wow. So what, literally at the point where we went into lockdown, you got hit by a heap of phone calls that you weren't expecting.
Everyone was just, so because of we work in private we work in many different areas, but obviously we are going into people's properties, and at that point it wasn't entirely clear whether that would still be allowed to happen, as it was, but initially you've got to take a step back and say, well, hang on a minute. Number one, you don't want to put your own people at risk from this. At that point, the disease was spreading rapidly. So as a business, we just took the decision immediately just to stop everything, just so we could review and work out what we were going to do.
Fantastic. Yeah. So what other ways would you say you've had to adapt throughout lockdown, especially at the start?
Okay, so initially, obviously, as I said, we did stop initially. Everyone worked from home. For us, that wasn't a problem. We're very set up for remote working. Our phone system, all our software system, everything is cloud-based. So we had zero interruption to our business in terms of the clients interacting with us. We were very fortunate in that way. People would not know if our team were in the office or working from home, and they still would have no one would know any difference there. So we implemented home working immediately, and then we started speaking to our clients and seeing what they were planning to do and how we could work together to obviously continue providing the services that they would still need. There is still a requirement for building maintenance services no matter what, and we had to work out a way of delivering those services.
Fantastic. So what would you say the biggest wins you've seen for your business since lockdown started? Have they been sort of early on in lockdown or more in the last month or two?
Yeah, no, very quickly. I mean, look, in the end, we only stopped work for a few days, really, while we communicated with our clients. from that point on, what we worked on was very much communicating with our clients regularly, providing them updates of the action we were taking. We were very quick to adopt the PPE with masks. We bought 10,000 masks immediately.
Wow.
So we had them for our guys, but also to support our clients. We work with a lot of block management clients where they have on-site staff, and there was very quickly a need to help those guys with their PPE. So luckily we had contacts. We managed to get PPE and sanitizer on board, and that really helped us maintain relationships with those clients. We also very quickly partnered up with a joinery company that we work with, who were providing screens for concierge and reception desks. And I think we've probably provided over 250 of those already, and that's an ongoing process. So we also sent out a monthly newsletter, which was something we hadn't done before. So we did that to just update our clients on the measures we were taking, to let them know we were still here and how we were operating to keep their residents safe, and obviously also from our point of view providing our engineers with a safe working environment. So yeah, that's how and that all happened pretty quickly, and the work really returned fairly quickly. And I think people saw us as a safe pair of hands, and they saw that we were taking it seriously. They weren't as concerned to continue to give us work when they knew that the measures we were taking.
That sounds amazing. 10,000 face masks. I bet you if someone had told you last year you were going to have to order 10,000 face masks, you wouldn't have known what the hell they were talking about, right?
No, it was there's been some difficult times, and but yes, it's been very strange, and I think early on, but once you adapted and you got into that, the running of it just worked. And people have been, the amount of communication I've had from the clients where they've said, thank you, your guys turned up in there, we've got masks and visors and gloves and shoe protection, and obviously the sanitizer, and the guys have just turned up and taken that few extra minutes to make people aware. We also, as part of our process, when the admin team were booking in the work, we would phone ahead to the resident, make sure they were happy having someone come on site, make sure they didn't have any symptoms, just to give that bit of reassurance. And that worked. We were obviously doing it for both people's benefits, but what it did, it enabled us to keep working. And I did, there has been people who perhaps didn't take that approach, and then would have not been able to work in the way that we did. So we were very fortunate in the way we adapted, and the team quickly got on board with that way of working. And you hear them on the phone, asking the questions, have you got any symptoms? Are you okay? And we've got high-vis vests with our logo on, obviously, but it also says, please keep your distance, so that you don't even have to keep reminding the resident, that they will see on the back of the engineer, please keep your distance. And that's for both parties.
Fantastic. So, I mean, despite the fact that was a great thing to do in terms of health and safety, have you found that you've actually gained business during lockdown? What's happened to your industry over lockdown?
Yeah, so overall, I think the industry, it certainly suffered for the first few weeks, but from a property maintenance point of view, we have increased our client base. We've doubled our client base since March.
Wow.
Yeah, we've probably increased our workforce to date by about 25%. We've added 8 vehicles since March. So for us, I can't speak for the whole industry. From talking to colleagues and other people in the industry, I think we're very fortunate in our industry that the work is still ongoing. It's there. And look, there was a lag in some of the work that was meant to happen. So what happens was we found, there was perhaps a delay in some of the projects coming through. We didn't feel any negative impact from that, but now everything is just flooding out, and people want things doing. Maybe people are all around a little bit more in their houses as well. saw more things that needed to be done. But for us, that there's been a noticeable increase. It's hard to know whether it's the things that we've directly done, the action we've taken, the developments we've made. We gained ISO accreditation during lockdown. We've gained other accreditations as well. We've brought on new operations managers. We've done a lot of work. We looked at it as an opportunity. Suddenly I was sitting there and just not quite as much to do. And being someone who is very proactive, we went out and looked at the ways to adapt slightly. What can we do to improve our business during this time? One of the guys did a CAD course so that we can do CAD drawings for our clients. Another guy put together all our new training program, health and safety. We've signed up for a new software that comes out next week. Yeah, there's been massive changes in our business particularly. But as I said, the construction industry in general, I think we're quite fortunate that we've been allowed to continue all the way through, and people know that they need us.
That's great. I mean, the refreshing thing is that, what I'm hearing from you is you've been focusing very much on the stuff you can control. For every one of you, Colin, there's also another business owner out there that's been focusing their whole time over the last 6 months on what they can't control. And I'm finding that's quite a challenge at the moment, actually.
Yeah, look, I'm very fortunate. I also belong to a mastermind group where we're very much focused on, and you say about controllables, and one of the sayings is control the controllables. You've got to control what you can control. And we did that very early on, and we put all these measures in place, and it has helped, and it has put us in a different position to where it's strange, but it's put us in a different position to we're coming out of this in a stronger position than we were in March.
Fantastic. So if you cast your mind back to the 23rd of March, is there anything you would have done sooner at that time if you knew then what you know now?
Yes, I would have gone out and bought a lot of perspex. Because that I mean, look, that is a serious the amount of perspex that has been used, and the prices have ramped up massively. So yes, I would have probably just done that. I think personally, and we handled it quite well, because we already were set up for the remote working. We were unable to adapt very quickly. I'm pretty happy with the way that we reacted, and the way we dealt with it early on. So I suppose it would have just been getting hold of some of. We had a big issue, as everyone did, with materials early on. We're quite fortunate because we've got our own storage facility, but there's still products that you couldn't get. So I suppose just being a little bit more prepared. How you would never know that something like this was coming, but certainly it does gear you up to be more prepared should something like this happen again. I think it's just having a few little things, just a few more things in stock, just a little bit more preparedness. What do we do? It works the same if there's a major power cut at the office, or if there was a flood, or you couldn't use the office for a couple of weeks. Just having those plans in place so that you can, okay, we can't do this. What do we do? And everyone knows exactly what to do. So that's the only thing. But we adapted fairly quickly. But and obviously, if there is a next time, which we obviously hope there isn't, we're ready.
Fantastic. So just out of interest then, when we actually came out of lockdown, if you can call us out of lockdown now, what was the first thing that you did personally?
So the first thing I did was, we're fortunate enough that we got a house in Belgium, which we've had for a couple of years. The first thing we did was, as soon as we were allowed to, was go straight over there. It was, lockdown was difficult. Everyone was working, after it got over that initial, we were working 6-7 days a week trying to deliver to our clients, and that little break over to Belgium for those few days was very much well earned, I think. So yeah, really enjoyed that. It was good to have a few days, because the holidays, 2 cruises booked for this year, both gone, and a lot of people are suffering from lack of holidays. But yeah, a few days in Belgium was good to have them.
Good. I think that is, in terms of recharging the batteries, I think that because of lockdown, because of the fact we're not driving here, there and everywhere. Okay, there's a benefit that we're able to get more done because we're not in the car as much. But in terms of the negative benefit from, sorry, the downside from it, should I say, is that once we finish one thing, we can start another, and there almost seems to be no break for a lot of people. So I think actually getting away, whether it's somewhere in a neighbouring country or whether it's just somewhere in the UK, I think was a great move on your part. And I think that anyone that hasn't had the chance to do that for the last 6 months needs to take a short break at some stage soon, because I think it does help us, especially with our mindset as well. There are a lot of people that have been struggling over the last 6 months with mindset issues or mental health issues at the downside. And if there's anything that we can do to stop that happening to us, absolutely we need to do it. So well done for that. Could you just let us know a bit more, just to get some real clarity on exactly who your ideal customer is? So if anyone that's watching this is your ideal customer, or they actually meet your ideal customer, they'll be best placed to introduce you. So who are you exactly looking to meet then, Colin?
Okay, so our main clients and our ideal clients are building managers who are looking for a quality, reliable building maintenance company to basically make their life easier. And when I say building managers, you could even class a homeowner as a building manager, because obviously they manage their building. So that could be a private homeowner, a property management company, social housing company, anyone who needs a quality, reliable building maintenance company. And in terms of building maintenance, we cover pretty much everything from electrical, gas, air conditioning, ventilation, general building works, carpentry, locksmith, rubbish removal, everything in-house, delivered by our own teams.
Fantastic. That's really good to know. So if anybody's got any need for your services right now, what I'll do is on LinkedIn, when I post this, I'll actually drop the details below. But if you could just let us know how best they can reach you and who they should be speaking to, who they should call.
Yeah, sure. So we have a 24-hour help desk. The best way, if you want to contact me directly, is through via LinkedIn, or alternatively on the email, which is helpdesk@tnabuildingservices.co.uk, and that will go through to our team, and yeah, we'll get straight back and hopefully can help.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your help, Colin. Thanks for being interviewed and sparing the time.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm going to drop the details below now. And anyone that needs to get in contact with a great property maintenance business, speak to TNA, and I'm sure they can do their best to help you. But for now, thanks very much, Colin, and I'll bid you farewell.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.